It's showing nobody in chat, so I don't know what's happened at the moment because we know that there are, and I can see a list of people. So if you've got anything to add to that in the questions, put them in caps, and let's see what you guys think. I mean, just recently, and I'm not jumping on this because I didn't know you'd been collecting them, but just recently, when 118 people in chat, it's just come up. When I've been having phone calls, people have been telling me they can hear somebody else talking.
Yeah.
And there'll be people in chat who've heard this, who've been talking to me on phone because I can't hear it. And so that's interesting in itself. But before we jump into that, let's just have a look what we've got here. Like, we've got Patrick Daniel. Oh, good to see you, Patrick. Blue Shift Rob, Simon Riley, Martin Abbas, Beer Monster, Stargazer, Jan and Andrew, Ian Linney. So hello, Ian and Mrs. Linney. Hope you had a good day yesterday. Mia Girl, let's have a look here. Beer Monster, we've done that. Jan and Andrew. Jeff Humphreys, Zero Dawn, Andy T, Karen Beerman, Bearman, sorry, not Beer. Let's have a look. Sober Carper, Tony Worrell, and Simon Riley, and Dare to Dream. Oh, what a great name, isn't it? 40 and 23. We've all got a Dare to Dream, haven't we? We just hope them dreams are good. So, questions tonight, people. What's on your mind? You know, let's kick a few ideas about. Remember, because Sundays is down for you guys, and if you've got anything you want to share with us,
give us. What I've noticed, Paul, is that a lot of people on the stream do a lot more searching and looking on the internet to see what stories are around, whereas we get only limited time to do that. So it'd be good to hear what people have picked up.
Yeah, well, I've had one of them days where I've done loads, but not got a lot done. But managed to film last week. I can't remember the day. I think it was Wednesday. Lights Under Sea.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. When I say lights, light, very dull, luminous glow. So I don't know how deep it is where we were looking, but let's assume it's at least 60 feet deep when you're looking out to sea. And I've noticed it. Probably 5 minutes before, and I kept looking at it and thinking, am I imagining this? And then I brought it to attention of Linny, Pete, and Mark. I can't think Linny will remind me who else were there, and I think Jenny and Heidi were there as well. They were. And we can see this dull glow under sea, then which proceeds to move slowly round in an anti-clockwise manner until it goes into distance. And I think I filmed it for 4 minutes. So I've downloaded footage today. It's there. So I will put a little bit of that up for you guys, or we will probably Sunday or whatever. So what is it? It's a cold North Sea. We're not in tropics, and it's a white glow.
So what camera did you film that on, Paul?
Psionics.
Okay.
The only thing that could see it, to be honest, Les.
Yeah.
I tell a lie. Of course, Heidi and Jenny were there. We've had a great week with two brilliant people who've come up, not just to support what we're doing up there. They've come up because they've got an avid interest in unexplained phenomena. So Heidi and Jenny came up and spent some time with us on cliff tops on all nights we'd been up there. And I think it was Heidi that had a thermal camera on. And if you are in chat, Heidi, and if you're under a different name or anything, she said it looked blue on thermal. We know the North Sea is blue, but that's not going to look like that on a thermal camera. So then it was lighting up blue. So I suppose it depends what colour palette you've got. But it was definitely a light, a very dull, luminous glow. So, and it was big. So what it was, I don't know. Kind of oval shaped, just slowly moving, very slow. And so, once again, what's this? Matthew Cook. I'm going to Bempton and Danes Dyke next Friday as I'm free from the better half. What's the best time to go? Do you know, Matthew? I don't know really. What day are you going next Friday? I don't really think it matters. I mean, I go at all hours. If people have noticed on some shorts we've put out, I've been up there at 3:30 in the morning, and it's just an interesting place. So obviously, if you're going to go, Matthew, in daytime, and Les has been as well.
And I think Danes Dyke is the best for daytime, Paul. And the Bempton, obviously you go when it's dark, and obviously the normal footfall has dropped down, so you're not in anybody's way. So probably later on for Bempton.
Yeah, I would agree, Les. Yeah, I mean, you've been to Danes Dyke. For most people, there's for bulk at time, Matthew, there's nothing to see apart from just a beautiful place to spend a bit of time. But as you know from what people have told you and what you've read and what's been reported, and not just from myself, don't forget, for the most part, I'm only reporting what other people come to me with. There's things to see there. There's things of an unusual nature that do happen. I mean, half at time people just go around, I don't know, blindly just taking in the warm weather and plant life. But there's other stuff there if you care to look.
Jeff Humphreys, what are your thoughts, Paul and Les, on a TicToc UAP? Well, that's an example of what I was saying earlier. I haven't seen it, Paul, have you?
The TicToc, are we? Well, Jeff, are you talking about the stuff that came out in disclosure? Because if you're not, then it's same as me, and it's same as what Les has said. Because I'm not really getting a chance to watch a lot of the current stuff that's coming out on internet, and I know there might be some people in chat saying, "Well, you should be. You're running a channel like this," but you know, the stuff that we're putting out is original to truth proof, and you're not going to find it anywhere else. A lot of the stuff. I mean, Lights Under the Sea last week. But I don't see anybody else, not in UK, that's filmed. Not that they can't or they shouldn't, that have been out there and filmed it. You know, and it's not just like a fleeting glimpse. We've got like 2 or 3 minutes of it. It's not some glowing spacecraft that you can see. There's a dull, luminous glow going through water.
So just some clarification on this, then, Paul. You didn't actually see an object going into the sea.
No,
you just filmed what you saw under the sea.
That's all I did. I would just look at everybody's there. We're just milling about, just talking in general, strange things. That's because it's a subject we love, and I weren't particularly engaging with the conversation. I'm looking out to sea, and I thought, I'm sure that because it's at this point, let's assume 12 o'clock's out front. At this point, it's at 2 o'clock. And in the distance, and when it gets to 12 o'clock, I brought it to their attention, and I said, "Can you see that?" And everybody saw it straight away. It's only a dull glow, but then it proceeded to move around to 9 o'clock position, but well in the distance, and it just faded from view. It had gone, so I don't know what it was.
And I guess with it moving about, that kind of rules out this bioluminescence.
Bioluminescence, sort of sea. What is it? It's some kind of sea plankton or some kind of plant. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get that in North Sea. It's absolutely freezing. But and it were white. It were white to the looking at it through the psionics for once. It were revealing its true colour, but it were white to naked eye. But to get back to Jeff's thoughts on the TicToc, I don't know, Jeff. Probably these things have been seen a lot more often than what, if we're going with the ones that came out at the congressional hearings, and I don't know if you are, they've been seen a lot more than what that is. That has been touted as being the sort of be all and end all of UFO footage. I think it's just the fact that it's come out, and the people who brought that out are a little bit more prominent than the people at Truth Proof, because I know for a fact that we've filmed things that are a lot more interesting than that, you know. And it's not just saying that, we definitely have. I wonder what they'd think if they wanted to show Lights Under the Sea. We've had them 4 times now and got them on film 4 times. Thermal footage of strange objects. There's all sorts of things. Well, that's up to me, I suppose, to put it out there more.
So following on from USOs under the sea, do people think the vast oceans hold more of a key to UAP situation? It's the perfect protection in many ways.
Absolutely. Do you know? I really do, Ruffian. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. It's just name. I really do. Absolutely. We know that the potential for something to come from outer space is absolutely incredible. But let's look at what you've just said, the oceans of the world. When you look at countries like UK, and then you look at, I don't know, say Russia or China, our country's about as big as my little finger compared to those countries. So you think, Christ, it's vast. Look at what could be happening there. But then when you consider that I think it's 71% of the Earth's surface is water, is ocean. 71%. So all these vast areas of land only amount to like 30% of the surface of the Earth. So you're spot on. I think that the potential for something to reside beneath the surfaces of the sea is absolutely
And to put a little bit more context on that, we can't even find a massive jet airliner which supposedly has crashed into the sea. MH 370, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And not only that, I mean, when you look at it as well, who's to say that we talk about these things having the potential to live below the surface of the sea, but what if they're living below the ground, below the seabed?
Below the seabed,
you know, in the depths of the sea. That
and I'm kind of picking up a theme on this because you talked about it for a while, Paul, but I've noticed some of our great guests that we've had on the Thursday live stream are picking up more on this as well, and they're talking about it more, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah. And you know, and there'll have been people before me, and there'll be people well after me, and you, and what everybody else in the chat. It's just, I don't know. I think there's been for far too long. There's been too much emphasis on the space brothers, and they're coming from space, and maybe that is happening, but maybe there's other combinations of visitation that are taking place. So
now this next question I can comment on, but I'll let you read it, Paul. From Darrell Cobb. Did you see Elizondo's latest photograph blow up in his face? The massive disc turned out to be a harvested field.
No, I never saw it, Darrell, but thank you. What is it, Leslie?
Well, what Darrell says there, it was a disc, what looked to be on the earth in a field, and there was a shadow underneath it, and Lou Elizondo put it out as a kind of UFO thing. And
really,
but what I did read about it was it was like a disc irrigation thing. You know, they have in America where they have these big fields where they've got to irrigate all the land with water, and that's what it was apparently. Unless the theory's moved on from that, guys.
So what do we take from that then, Les? I mean, because I've no thoughts on this man. Sort of, I don't mean for or against.
What it illustrates to me is that there's no, they're not following. Are they just looking at a photo blind and not following it up with any any more information on it? You know, because that's what it appears to have been sent out as.
I don't know. I don't. You know, like I've said, I show my ignorance because I know nothing about what's going off in the world of ufology as outside of what I do, really. But is that an attempt to deceive? Maybe not. Is it a genuine mistake? Could be. I suppose the time will tell. But you kind of get the feeling. Are they just clutching at straws now just to get something out? Are you with me? We desperately need to. Well, anyhow, regardless, what do you guys think? I don't know. I mean, it could be just a genuine mistake. Let's face it, but it's a biggie when you stood up there, being the sort of voice of disclosure. That's what you know.
Right, we've got a little bit of footage sent, Paul. I don't know if you can just give us a lead into this bit of footage that we've seen at Danes Dyke.
Well, this isn't disclosure, people. This is a guy called Richard and his wife who'd been to Danes Dyke very recently. And he kindly sent me this footage the other day. And it's not the smoking gun of ufology. There might be a perfectly rational explanation, but she's filming, as far as I can see, her husband walking along one of the paths in Danes Dyke. And something appears to drop out of a tree. I've slowed it down, Les, and I sent it to Les today. And it don't look like the usual. Have a look, see what you guys think. Watch this.
That's it.
That's it. And then we slow it down again. And that's it, basically, a frame grab of it. We're putting it out there. He knows, or the couple know I'm putting it out there. They're not making any assertions as to what it is. They only noticed it when they downloaded it. I'm not saying what it is. It could be a raindrop, although it isn't because it's sunny. A nice, bright, sunny day. But I just found it interesting. It's not the usual kind of bug that flicks close to the lens and everybody's saying a UFO's flown past at incredible speed.
Interesting. Yeah, I found it interesting, that
There
one.
might be somebody who's got a perfectly rational one for that one, and I'm sure that Richard and his wife would like to know just as much as me. So we just thought we'd throw that one at you guys.
Yeah. So there we go. Right then, I'll have to go and find some more questions, Paul.
Oh, you're all right.
Unless you want to start off with something.
Well, yeah, I will. I'll start off, unless you've got a question there. I'll start off with, I told Linny about this in week, and hold on, what we got? Hi, good evening, all from us in sunny South. Hi, good to see you, and I like your dog. Love Staffies.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks ago, and I hope I haven't told this story because I don't think I have, because there's not loads that happens now in this property, as far as I'm concerned, of an unexplained nature. We got the little stones a couple of years ago that kept landing in all, but I was laid in bed in the spare room, actually, because my back had been hurting again, and I'm in that spare room. Little dog were in room, but he don't come on bed. He's on his own on a little blanket. And I've not been in bed long, and I felt the presence of something at the bottom of bed. So put a little light on. I thought it were him. I thought and he weren't. He's fast asleep. And then I put my head under the duvet, and literally 2 or 3 minutes later, and I always try to give an analogy that will make sense. If you pictured right heavy silk or satin, it felt like that had gone on bed and just ran all the way over the bed and over me and off the other side, and made a strange noise, like a that's. And I suddenly started thinking to myself, for some reason, I need to go in our room because there's an alarm in our room in case anybody breaks into the bottom of the garden, and it breaks a sensor and rings a bell, like an alarm.
Yeah.
Why I thought that, I don't know. But as soon as I started thinking it, the bloody thing went off. Mary come straight in. She said, there's somebody in the bottom of the garden. Dog went mad. So I went out, put some trousers on, got dressed, went out. Everything's locked up. Just a strange one, guys. You know, say you can't make it up. I could, but I haven't done. But that's as it happened. So, yeah, questions. Hello to all. Hello, Linny.
Yeah, well, that sounds... It's more than coincidence, Paul, in my book.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Well more than coincidence.
And the sensation of whatever went over the bed, it was really smooth, but you could feel the weight of it. Yeah. And it weren't unnerving, it weren't frightening, but for some reason I suddenly thought, I'm going to have to go in our room, because if that alarm goes off, Mary won't hear it. Why do I say Mary won't hear it, people? Because she has 2 hearing aids in, and they come out on a night, and that's exactly what came into my mind. And literally within seconds, I heard it, because obviously I'm not asleep. Dog went mental. She came in because she had heard it, because we'd not been in bed long.
No.
Go outside, it's locked. How does that work?
Yeah, I kind of got it, and a lot of people ask you, how many false alarms do you get with your alarm going off?
That alarm's been there. Well, we've had 2, one sort of packed up now. But about 5 years ago, I thought about it once in the night, and it did it again about 5 years ago, maybe longer.
Yeah,
I weren't going to add that bit because it sounds too contrived, but that it did. And I think I told them that on Clifftops the other night. But there you go.
Okay.
So go on. What we got. Is that the question? Hello to all.
But let's have a look. We've got a question from
Tracy Welburn. Good to see you, Tracy. Carl, Dan, Blue Shift, Phoenix 138, Ginge, Zeno, Zaphoid. I can never say that. I don't.
Not a question, but Mick Parker's in the stream. Welcome, Mick. Evening, guys. Hope you're all well. Paul and Les, looking forward to September and doing some scout watching. We will have to try the EMF reader again, Paul.
Absolutely. So that leads us on to a little story, but we ought to have had that footage, Mick. I never thought about that. And Mick's coming up, obviously, in September, and he'll spend a few days up with us. Well, he'll be doing his own thing, what he wants to do, but also on cliff tops. And as Les probably were going to say, but Mick's the guy, along with Nick, his work colleague, who produced that incredible music for Wolflands. And we're forever indebted to him for that, because that it really lifted film. So thank you. But not only that, when Mick came up, I don't know what year it was, Mick. It's probably 2 or 3 years ago. We were on the cliff tops in the night, I had an EMF meter, and Mick was asking questions, and the camera can't lie. I suppose it can, but the camera were on. What are your camera, Mick? It was your phone, weren't it? And you're filming from a distance, and we're asking questions, and the EMF meter's not almost, it's going off as we speak. Are you looking for that footage, Les?
I'm looking for some things, yeah, on here.
Yeah, I thought you might be. So it was really interesting, that, Mick, and it really was reacting, and I asked it to stop, and it stopped, and it started when it were asked to start. Really kind of spooky. I don't know what we called it, Les, so you might struggle to find it.
I'm struggling on all these drives what I linked up to this machine.
Well, just fire us another question up, and if you find it, and Dragon.
Okay, well, Matthew Cook is adding to that. I'm up for that, and we'll be there all. Oh, right, I'll be up for that, and we'll be there all afternoon and into the night. Thanks.
All right, Matthew. Well, that's the Friday, is it? I'll have to have a look at what date it was. What date was it? What is it? This coming Friday?
That's what I think.
No, it don't matter anyway. But if I can meet up, Matthew, I will. And I'm going to Hornsey on
Friday
Tuesday.
the 9th.
Friday the 9th. Okay, mate. I'm off to Hornsey on Tuesday to meet up with a guy who's kindly let myself and Les film him. That's the one where I got the day wrong, and I ended up at wherever I ended up on wrong day. Can you remember where were that, Les? Scunthorpe way.
Yeah, it was. It was up there. It was down just past Scunthorpe. It was.
And I'll just briefly tell you guys about that. This guy, I think in 1994, were a DJ, and he was DJing in a local village hall. And when he left that night, driving home, loaded all his equipment in car, a thing like a Bigfoot is on the road, and I don't know, he's waited 20 odd years to tell somebody. He just kept it all to himself. Really shook him up, and an incredible story. It was great to interview him, Les, weren't it?
Yeah, we had a good afternoon there, and obviously always try and get a visit to the local pub, don't we, afterwards?
Oh, you've got to do that. Come on, Les, hit me with a question. Otherwise, I'm sat here, Carol Pointer, Matthew Cook, Tony Worrell. Can't just read names out. Tino.
Okay, Zeno is saying, within the last week, the community is starting to realise the extent to which they have been deceived. Elizondo and his fake pics, Greer and his false predictions, and Skywatcher with blurry video.
Do you know, I'm not saying that these guys are deceiving us. They could be, Zeno. You could be absolutely on the money. But we are being deceived on a monumental scale, aren't we? Let's face it. And do you think part of the reason is that whatever it is that's wanting to interact probably has no more interest in the people that think that they should have all the interest, the governments, the presidents and the prime ministers and the kings and queens of this world. The actual unknowns probably got just as much interest, or just as interested in your average Joe, your average man on the street. And that might be what upsets or withholds a lot of it, because disclosure's taking place, isn't it? Let's face it. It's everywhere. It's in children's books. It's in children's games. It's in films. It's on adverts. We're being subliminally, we're actually being exposed. Amazing. I could say that, couldn't I? What word? I couldn't say one of them words the other week. Subliminally, we're being exposed to all of this, aren't we? And whether we like it or not, it's there. And that's why it's becoming more acceptable. But the community, I'm glad you said that, Zeno, the community, not the public at large. They'll not have cottoned onto it, because half of it's just skimming over the top of people's heads. Do you know? I mean, do you actually think we're ever going to see disclosure? I don't. I think it's happening. No, not disclosure in the way that the community is expecting it. Some big announcement. I mean, didn't we touch on this other week or on Thursday that let's assume that America, biggest superpower in the world allegedly, or China, but let's assume America is on the cusp of disclosing the alien presence. Do you seriously believe that the other superpowers would not want to get there first? It's like first man on the moon. I want to get my flag in it. So they can't be close, because otherwise there'd be a race, unless there's some, as some people say, providing we don't get too conspiratorial, that there's a government and a power elite above all of the governments of the world, all of the superpowers of the world, that's controlling everything like one big spider, and everything else is just going off. And I don't know, but I don't think we can be close to disclosure if that scenario came about. And what about then? Let's assume that China comes out tomorrow and with something convincing, an alien presence, and they've met the aliens and they're showing us everything. Just play with this idea for a moment. Do you think there might be some fake AI alien meeting, alien disclosure in place, ready to trump that in case it happens? Some government or government bodies already got it all ready, just in case somebody gets to it first. I don't know. We're just kicking all these things about when everybody's hanging on the word disclosure. And I think we should probably just drop the word disclosure and just do what we're doing, because you, the people out there, you're in this chat, unless you're in it rolling your eyes thinking, what's he rambling on about, which some people will be. You're in it because you've had experiences of your own, and the profound, and this kind of made you scratch your head probably for the best part of your lives. Some of you don't need disclosure. You know what? Do you need a government to tell you what you've seen and experienced is real? Do you really need that? If you do, you're looking at the wrong channel, because it's actually happening. It's here.
Yeah. Okay. And I tend to agree with you there, Paul. I mean, it's this drip, 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 and I mean very slow drip feed over years and years and years.
Drip feed of what?
Since videos have been let out, it's all these TicToc videos, what people have been responding to from 2017 when they first came out, and I don't know, and it's mostly videos, though, isn't it? Really, so it's videos what people are seeing, and is this the disclosure on a drip drip basis?
Well, it could be, I suppose. The written word's been out there, and it's, I don't know, since people started writing books about alien visitation.
Yeah.
But the video is the visual is what we can take in. We don't need to read. We don't need to hear. We can watch it passively, and whether we take it in or not, it's a different thing. But
yeah. I mean, I'll just give an example. I mean, the Las Vegas alien. I mean, that was all over the big news channels in America.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me? So. And that was covered extensively. And there was a follow-up, and there was a follow-up to the follow-up, if you know what I mean.
I wonder why it is, because you're spot on there, Les. And that Las Vegas aliens, I mean, I really don't watch that much of it. But what I saw, when I saw all those police cars, I thought, did anybody...
Are you getting confused with the shopping mall? The shopping mall.
Oh, yeah, I am. Apologies. Yeah, I am, yeah.
Yeah, but that was another strange case where people are purported to have seen aliens in the shopping centre.
Well, like go down Brid, going to a few bars in Brid, it's like Star Wars bar. I'm telling you, it's
okay. Dare to Dream is saying we should get Jerry Wills on the show. I just watched a few interviews with him on Gear. Interesting guy. We'll keep that in mind.
Okay, Dare to Dream. We'll have a look. I don't know who Jerry Wills is, but
yeah.
I've just done an interview today with Matt Emch for the is it the 412 files? I've done that today, so I don't know when he's putting that out, but I'll send a link when we get it.
Nice one. Okay, let's have a look with Martin Abbas. There is likely UFO military tech seen at Bempton, all of which leads you to incredible conclusions, let alone what is under the water, hovering anti-gravity tech, just some of the science we use.
Yeah, and you're right, Martin. If you're alluding to the fact that some of it, if I won't say all of it, some of it could be man-made tech that we're confusing for true unidentifieds. I don't know, but some of the stuff we've seen up there. And, we say it every week, don't we? I mean, I don't... Have you... Linny will not mind. Have you got that little bit of footage that we put on a Linny's? And don't put 4 minutes of it up, Les. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I'm putting Les on the spot now, guys, because we've not planned any of this. Les has had an hospital visit this afternoon, I think, and I've been busy doing other things. So leave it, Les, and let's just carry on with questions. And I shouldn't do that to you.
Zeno Lee. Elizondo has been caught in his own CIA disinformation program.
Oh dear,
kind of hilarious.
Do you think Zeno? Sometimes some people are set up to fail. and given all this information, do you think that could be the case? And as with some of the incredible cults, and I'm not saying this guy's in a cult, but what we've seen over the years, and they announced the imminent arrival of I don't know, that being of unknown origin, and it never comes to fruition, and they're meant to look stupid. But somebody's fed them that information. Somebody's made them that convinced.
Fortune says, to be fair to Elizondo, he did say the photo hadn't been properly vetted before he published it. Well, not good when someone's trying to build trust. That's what we're saying, isn't it, really? And post something that's so quickly debunked. Lesson for the future. They won't do that again, will they?
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. And this is the face of disclosure. These are the people at the forefront of disclosure. And I'm not saying I wouldn't like to speak to him on Truth Proof, because I would. But chances are, if anybody's got a connection to this man, point him in our direction.
And Karen says, and alluding to your story, I think, Paul, I wonder how many of us are affected by something while we sleep and we remain unaware. Absolutely. Unless we wake up for nature's call or something, senses alert us and we wake up, we'd never know.
Yeah, do you know, Karen, I think you're so right. I wonder how many of us have these experiences. I don't mean every bit of his life, but at odd times during his lives. Perhaps everybody in the world has a little bout of this, but just does not retain the memories. And, I can only talk about my own experiences. And I know that morning, which people will have heard me say many times, when I sat on the edge of that bed, if Mary hadn't have turned around and said, I don't believe it, you've got 3 holes in your back. I don't mean I'd have forgot, but I wouldn't have remembered as much as I remembered when them words dropped. And I felt round my back. I know that I wouldn't have remembered as much. It's almost falling out of your head. I wonder if you guys, if you've had any experience of anything similar, and I don't mean the wounds, if at times throughout your life after it's happened, you've actually remembered something, and you have. This might not sound right, but I hope it does. But you can't remember it. Does that sound right? You've remembered it, but you can't remember it. You're just on cusp of getting a little bit more, but you can't. It's almost as though there's something blocking you getting that over that hurdle and remembering a little bit more. Because there's many accounts that I've heard about and read about where people have had interaction and abduction scenarios, and they've gone for years and years, and they're not without even knowing, and then all of a sudden something's happened, and I don't know what. I can't think of one instance off the top of my head, but it's a trigger, and suddenly all these memories have come flooding back. Yeah, and I think there's a lot more people out there that are having these experiences and have had them.
Okay, bumps into things in the night. Have most people you speak to live in the area experienced strangeness in the area, or is it the minority who see things?
A difficult one, isn't it, Bumps? Because we don't know how many people are sat out there saying nothing. We don't know how many people are not necessarily truth proof, but sat looking at podcasts, observing, and probably not even telling their wife. I've spoken to people, and I'm sure people in chat have done it, and they tell you things, and who knows that I've not even told my wife. Well, we're doing the Awakening conference on the 17th of this month. Oh, Les, I forgot to tell you, Steve Mira contacted me. It's sold out.
Okay, yeah.
The Awakening sold, just in case you when you put image up, it's sold out. But we're doing the image.
Yeah, well, while you're talking about it, we'll put the image on the screen.
Okay, so just be aware, guys, that there's no tickets available for this now. It's sold out. Steve did send me a banner to send to Les, and I've forgotten it. I'd sold out on it. And now I've forgot what I'm talking about. But geez, no worries. It's gone. I'm just having one of them senior moments there, aren't I? But that's your fault, Les. So where were we, guys? Help me with this one, because I'm sure it might not have been interesting.
Okay, well, we'll just carry on until we get our thread back. Let's have a look then. Right. Phoenix 138 Errant. Do you have a ground yourself?
Works wonders. I used to always, if we're talking about walking about barefoot and things, yeah, but where I live, not where I live, I've lived here for 30 years, but there's not much area to ground yourself now, if that's what you're talking about. but yeah, I believe it would work wonders. There's nothing better than just being out in the open, and I spend a lot of time out in the open and out in the countryside. But I don't know where you're going with that exactly.
Okay. Tracy Welburn, great to watch. Ex-policeman who had some experience I had with strange shape crossing the road. You featured man on a short pole. It didn't frighten me, although still intrigues me to know what it was.
Absolutely. And once again, Tracy, it's good to see the police officer. That one on the last transmission, we put that one on. So if you want to get over to that and have a look at it, having his experience. And what's interesting, Andy contacted me years ago to tell me about the Tilbridge Lane incident where this shadowy shape crossed the road. And just as an afterthought, he says, we were travelling back from the strangest case, you know. He says we'd been surveying a little farm property where a lady had claimed and a daughter had claimed they were a werewolf. You know, just in conversation, he came out with that one. But yeah, the things that cross the road that are featureless. You said you featured, but these featureless things that cross the road that instill so much fear. Where does that fear come from? You'd think from some inanimate object that you wouldn't feel it, but you do. Where do we get that fear from? From nothing, from absolutely nothing. When you're in these locations and suddenly this fear envelops a person, I find the fear fascinating. I've said many times. But yeah, Tracy, your sighting or experience were just as valid as everybody's, and perhaps we ought to feature Tracy's and Andy's and 2 or 3 people and go through them one Sunday. If you want to come on, Tracy, and talk about it, you're welcome.
Yeah. John Alexander, I'm Paul and Liz. Could the rise in the world conflict possibilities and the submarine training ground off Flamborough be the source of the lights?
It's hard to say, John, because the lights have been reported for decades, long before. I know we've always had conflict somewhere in the world, but long before these heightened tensions that we've got now in the world, these lights have been reported as long as the lifeboat logs have been written in. So I wouldn't think so. And let's not forget, what you've got here is a pocket of people that are spending a lot of time trying to document this. I dare say if you go up the coast to Scarborough, Whitby, all the way up the coast, I think you'll find that these lights are being seen. I know that I've got a contact on one of the rigs up there that regularly gets information from Coast Guard to look out for unusual lights. Not him personally, it just comes through to rig. And so I'm not sure. And we know there's the submarine training ground off Flamborough and Bempton, but I'm not sure.
Okay, thanks for that, Paul. And because Mick put it in caps, over 200 people in the chat. Let's try and hit the like button to give this amazing channel the YouTube support it needs via the algorithm. Thanks.
That's really kind of you, Mick. Thank you, because I always forget, and I know Les does, and we should do it, because I know when I look at other people's channels, some brilliant channels out there, guys, but they're very keen. Probably 2 or 3 times they're saying, don't forget, hit the like and subscribe. I almost feel embarrassed saying it, but don't forget, hit the like and subscribe. Yeah. But
yeah, thanks, Mick. Daryl Paul, you have 3 potential biggies: Hundenby, Woolsthorpe, RAF Lightning.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the RAF Lightning, we'll go reverse order. September 8th, 1970. There's still mileage in that, no matter how long ago it was. We know that it could have been a tragic accident, so I'm not going to say that this pilot of the Lightning has been somehow whisked away by aliens, but you can't deny the fact that in the same time period that aircraft plunged into North Sea, and at the time it plunged into North Sea, allegedly it was pursuing a UFO, but at the same time, before and after, strange things were happening. The RAF Marine craft suffering a 25 by 12 inch foot tear in its hull, beached on North Beach. Unidentified submerged object that did it. This is RAF. We're not saying they can't have accidents, but these are rare. But then a few days later, you'd got the lightning crash. And then a few days after, you'd got the speedboat that hit an unidentified submerged object and disintegrated, picked up by a pleasure cruise at the people on the... And not then you've got the butcher from Bolton, the butcher from Flamborough, Dean Bolton, as a schoolboy. Same time period, went to look at these huge scorched area on the cliff tops at Flamborough, where all the school kids went to look at it, where an alleged UFO had landed. And then you've got the Ministry of Defence that came and asked the farmer to plough out the field. You can't get away from the fact that unusual things were happening. So whilst I'm not going to say it's UFO related, when you pack all them other things around it, it makes you kind of raise your eyes. It's interesting. Then Wilsthorpe, September 15th, 2009. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. The elderly couple, there's, how many is there, Les? There's 4 blocks of 4, 16 flats, is there? There's 16
Something
flats,
like that, yeah.
on edge at North Sea. You imagine going to Bottom Garden and throwing a stone into the sea, and there's nothing else to right or left of these flats. And on September the 15th, 2009, they claim that there's a boomerang of objects out over the sea. And they watched them for an hour slowly departing and separating. You think, why didn't other people see this? Half at time, the flats are empty. And very few people live in them year round. And this is between 11 and 12 at night. Absolutely fantastic case. Absolutely brilliant. And then Hummonby, to me, just can run and run. And there's loads. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys at the conference, whoever's coming on May the 17th, and talking about Hummonby. And there's weird coincidences, because some of the things I'm talking about with Hummonby, although not related to what Lynn is going to be talking about, and he's going to be covering a load of things that start early and just culminate present day. But I'm talking about some of the locations that he's going to hit on, and the locations people have never heard of before. And he said to me, look, isn't that a coincidence that you've got a report here from that place and I'm talking about that place? We'll not say it because I don't want to spoil it for people, but it's fascinating. So you're right, Daryl, there's 3 great cases there. RAF Lightning, a guy contacted me, sometimes comes in here, ex-military, claims he saw XS894, which is what the Lightning was, in a hangar, in a disused, on a satellite RAF base. Said he went into this old hangar, pulled a canvas sheet with another guy, an ejector seats were their thing, and this seat's out, and they're looking and thinks it were XS894 years later. Interesting. That should have gone for scrap. Do you know what I mean? So, rambling. Go on.
John Alexander, the next question is, what is being disclosed? Is it aliens or is it ultra-terrestrials?
I'm sorry, John. What's the difference? There'll be alien, won't there? I mean, I know there will be a difference, John, but I don't know it. Ultra-terrestrials. What are ultra-terrestrials, guys? I must be thick. I realise that, but
I've never heard the term, Paul.
I've heard the term, but it don't really occur to me to dissect them into categories. I know we get guests on Thursday live stream. We'll tell you there's God knows how many species coming through and interacting with us. Whether there is or not, I don't know. But ultra-terrestrials, I don't know. I think they're alien, John. That's all I know. They're alien to everything that we know and understand as normal, as human. And while we're on with that, I just briefly, did you like Lorraine on Thursday? I did personally. She might have been very alternative to what people would normally talk about, but I'll be honest with you, Lorraine toned it really down for Truth Proof. If she were going to get to the nuts and bolts and the truth of it, we'd probably wouldn't have had a channel this week.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen that last Thursday's stream, I urge you to go and watch it. As Paul said, very interesting. Okay, Matthew Cook. How do we know that these whistleblowers aren't X-Men in black? Do you think it's better just to concentrate on your own backyard?
Absolutely. I really do, Matthew. Stay in your own lane, and it doesn't mean that we've got to be blinkered and not look at other stuff, but it's I suppose it's same with the books. I'm not a fan of reading anybody else's work, really. Philip Mantle often sends me stuff, and he knows I'm not going to read half of it. I don't know why he does it. If he's watching this, he'll be smiling. So it's not meant as an insult because it's appreciated. But maybe there will be a time and a place, but you know, form your own thoughts, and let's stay in your own lane, and you get a better idea of what's happening without being influenced by somebody else's opinions. It's good to take advice off other people, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, form your own opinions.
Okay, you've got some books for sale, Paul.
Yes, the Truth Proof books. They're on the website truthproof.uk, and there's loads of UFO reports on there. In fact, Don messaged me earlier today, well, just a few hours ago, to say he's just going to put a few more on in morning that have come through. So some great original UFO reports. But if you want the paperback books, go to truthproof.uk and order them there. If you want to order them overseas, or from overseas, should I say, go to the eBay link on that site, and then I can send them via global shipping. Likewise, exactly same as the books, truthproof.uk for Wolfland's DVD, please. If you want to order the DVDs, as soon as order comes in, it gets sent out, unless it's weekend, same day, because I'm sending them, so I know that it's going to be sent out same day. And what else? Books are also available on Kindle as downloads, and the DVDs on Amazon Prime as a download. And I've no shame in saying it, I can't recommend this enough. This is the best cryptid-related film out there. The witnesses are incredible, all of them.
Okay, right, on with the questions then, Paul. Let me get from Richard Mason. I've had 3 sightings, Paul. Don't need anybody to tell me that they are real.
Absolutely, Richard. You know, that is exactly what that's the mindset that people should be in. Why are we waiting for disclosure? Do we need to be told? I don't think Truth Proof listeners need to be told, because most of you will already know. Like I said, unless you just sat here for a grin and want to roll your eyes, but in which case, I mean, you might be laughing at the other side of your face when it actually happens to you. Because, you know, you never know when these things are going to happen.
Ginge197, do you think Lou was given the photo by someone he trusted and he's been framed, so no one now believes anything he has to say? Good way of putting it, Ginge, and that could be true. But you know, is in former job that he's done, you know, you'd think he'd be, you know, I don't know, looking out for all that, especially in position he's in at the moment. But as I say, I don't want to knock the man, because that could absolutely be bang on. Didn't do his due diligence, did he, Paul? That's the thing. Okay, so we've got this one from Mark DB. Disclosure means different things to different people. Many people will not believe anything that comes from government, ASP, USA, which constitutes what constitutes absolute proof. Some will never believe or accept.
You're absolutely spot on, and I just agree with what you've said. I mean, there's some people, you know, that, and you guys as well as myself will know of this, who've actually had a sighting with somebody stood outside of them. They know what they've seen, and they still refuse to believe it. You know, the sighting I had. If you've got more questions, as we'll do them. But the sighting I had in 2002 with Chris Short, great guy, still lives in Scarborough. So I'm not having a go at Shorty, but when we'd seen it, he couldn't shut up about it. We were telling people at work the next day, huge tubular thing over some trees pulsing, and you could feel it in your body. We told them all that, and then just over days and weeks, it dissipated, and it was, well, I might have seen something. Yeah, I'll give you that. And yeah, we did see something. I'm not sure what it was. Strange. I don't know what it is that closes a person down. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's have a look then. Tina. Paul, I heard on a show this week that those military parabolic dishes seen on certain vehicles are for picking up on faraway conversations. Maybe someone was eavesdropping on the cliffs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a few of our cliff dwellers who are up there with me then will be sort of thinking to themselves, well, they'll be having a laugh then, because you don't just sit there thinking you're at Sunday school when you're up there. We talk about many things. So they'll have heard some interesting conversations. That's all I can say.
Okay. Yaks. I like the picture. The glass of beer in his hand. Paul had a visit to Willie Howe and could see Rudston Church distinctly from the top. What are your thoughts on these sacred sites being linked?
I do think there's some link, there's some energy line there maybe, and that's brilliant. Because I don't know how tall you are, Yax. I'm only 5'6", so there's no way I'm going to see it unless I climb a tree. So if you can see that, because I didn't know you could, so that's interesting in itself. I've looked on Google Earth and seen it, and it does line up. And it's really interesting that because years ago we did the dowsing rods. And I said it were like an hot cross bun. We staked it and did it, and it worked. And I was absolutely certain, because I knew the direction of Rudston Monolith, that we were in line with that. So that's interesting. Yeah. We need to take somebody up who's tall to have a look at this. I'm assuming that you're tall enough to see, because I know I'm not.
Okay, Liam is asking, hi, Paul and Les. I heard Whitley Strieber recently mentioned the notion of phobias being possible unconscious reactions to exposure during close encounters. Wondered what you think.
I don't know. It could be. Let's imagine, Liam, and this is just my first thoughts on this. Imagine that what I talked about earlier, with these thoughts or these experiences drop out of the back of your head as soon as you've had them. It's almost as though there's some process at work where we're not allowed to remember. We shouldn't be remembering. Then what if something traumatic's happened and you've developed a phobia in view of what's happened to you? I can't say for definite, but and you might not even know why. Do any of us know why we develop phobias? Do you know why we're terrified of spiders? Why? I don't know.
Dragonborn says, Paul, you can ground yourself anywhere, even on concrete.
Even on concrete, yeah. And Dragonborn would know. Brilliant supporter. One of our the best supporter of Truth Proof. Well, I shouldn't say the best. That's been a bit biased, but a great supporter of Truth Proof. Thank you, Dragonborn.
Carol points out, I was speaking to a lady recently whose daughter astral planes in her sleep. Very interesting.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Does anybody else do that? I had a kind of outer body experience last year. It's the first time it's ever happened, but I don't know whether that's astral planing. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carol.
Zeno, any chance Paul can bring the Bobster to the Awakening?
Zeno, you're coming to Awakening, are you? All right, okay. That'd be good. He's probably already told me, but you see, my memory's like a sieve. That's dropped out of my head as well. But no, I can't bring him. But he'll be at Sarah's. He'll be getting trapped. He'll have 3 grandkids. Well, he'll be driving them nuts. So yeah.
Okay, so let's move on with Tony Worrell. Paul, did Andy do any research where he saw the shape across the road to see if others have or have reported it?
Now, I can't remember what year it was, and I don't think Andy's in tonight, and we're very tight on time. So we're going back quite a few years. They didn't report it to anybody at the station. They were both frightened to death. Right. He did do a bit of research on it, yes. And I know that I think he said his sergeant came in one night, and no, they were talking about unexplained. They were talking about ghosts and things, and his sergeant said he had a weird experience on Tilbridge Lane. It says, and Andy says, and I looked at my oppo who I worked with, and we both looked, and we thought, is he winding us up? And excuse me, evidently he wasn't. So there were more experiences on that lane. It'd be something I'd have to ask, because I can't remember how much research. Knowing Andy, he'll have done quite a bit of research into it.
Okay, and thanks to Lee Roscoe for mentioning that Truth Proof is now at 14,000 subscribers. Thank you, Truth Proofers.
Yes, and thank you, Lee, and thanks, Alison. Is Alison in tonight? And
I don't think she's in the chat, Paul, but yeah, but thanks, Lee.
Well, thanks, Lee, and thanks, Alison, for support. I see Dave Barker's in. Good to see you, Dave. I think you're coming to me tomorrow, aren't you? DM Moon's son, Margaret Webster, we know Dragonborn, Simon, Matthew Cook, Dazza G, and Ginge. That's all I can see, guys. And well, we're not done yet. I was just about to say good night.
John Alexander, do you think we are being set up for a false flag, even like Stephen Greer has predicted, given the amount of sightings, drones, and whistleblowers, etc.?
We could be, yeah. John. You know, it was fascinating, all those drone sightings earlier in the year. And who did we have on? Steve Bassett that said there was a lot of light form sightings. Well, I call them light forms. It's the spheres of light. And he believes that the drones were put up to kind of confuse matters, to stop people seeing what was actually happening, so they could blame it on drones. And it's interesting when you think of the drones that were seen around military bases, seen around airports. I'm not advocating this. I wouldn't do this, but I'd like to bet that if I went with a drone at an airport, I'd get caught fairly quick, even if I were away from the airport. So why was it that all of these aerial objects that people were describing as drones could not be touched, could not be caught? If they were our own drones and there was some cover up, then that's the reason. We're not going to catch them. We're not going to look for them because we're just not doing it. But then you'd think somebody from an official capacity within the airport would be whistleblowing and dropping it out that, we weren't allowed to pursue this. I don't know.
Well, I probably think the latter, the last sentence you said there, Paul, because if you remember, we had the blue ball on Manchester Airport seen by another pilot, photographed by another pilot in an adjacent plane.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But nothing more was said. Nothing more was said officially about it.
And I had a report this week of a sphere of light that seemingly left the side of an aircraft. And we'll have to follow that one up. It just come to me earlier, and there's a few reports. I'm fascinated by the one by the couple that were in the car, and the sphere of light came through the car roof, literally through roof, and filled the car with light. All ones that I've not really done anything on. I've just had too much to do to even write them down, but I'll have to do it.
Jan and Andrew, has everyone recovered from Thursday's program? Jan, remember about 20 years ago, reading in Stephen Hawking's book, should be trying to contact aliens. They may come and use us as fuel. Absolutely.
Calories, do you mean, Jan? Is that the kind of fuel that you're talking about? Yeah. Because who's to say that we are not ultimately a harvest? Terrifying thought, that, isn't it?
Ants in the farm as well. Okay, what's this? Conduit 7, would it be possible that we could send you our images during your podcast and show your audience? Well, yeah, they kind of have to be pre-prepared there.
We'd have to see them first. I mean, with Conduit 7, I'm sure that you're absolutely spot on and legit, but we don't put anything up just in case it's something that's not appropriate.
Yeah, we don't want to put ourselves in Lou Elizondo's...
But yeah, please do send them to us prior to podcast. Send them to Les or to myself at truthproof.uk, and we'll definitely put them up, and you can talk us through them if you want.
Martin Abbas is asking, any more sightings of the stick insect-like creature from Farlingdales, Paul?
No, nothing. That's just a strange one, that, isn't it? That's a really strange one, and I've spoke to the lady involved. I've not spoke to her husband, but he's fully aware, obviously, because he saw it as well. And yeah, fascinating. And when Martin came through last time, we went up to Farlingdales and just we hovered around the very place where this thing was seen, and it was seen as this couple travelled up in a VW transporter that just rounded this corner called the Devil's Elbow, and as they're coming up the road, this thing ran across the road. Crazy sighting. And hopefully, if you're in this, I'm not going to say your name, but if you're in chat, hopefully we want to meet up and do a little bit more on that one if possible. Thanks, Martin.
I should have followed Conduit's last question on with this one, because Conduit 7 is saying, I have lots of footage of the sausage-shaped UFO that you talk about.
Now I know who you are, I think. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to do it, and let's talk in the week if possible.
Okay, and let's have a look. Stargazer Eternal. Unfortunately, I won't believe anything that was announced by the government.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on the. I think we're all on the same page there, aren't we? We are getting. We don't even have to talk about UFOs, do we, to be on that same page?
Yeah.
So
I think the last statement tonight goes to Ginge 197. We don't need the government to give us disclosure because it will be littered with lies and deception.
Spot on, absolutely. And Ginge, thank you. Everyone in chat, thank you. I don't know, we've at least 250 helping to just move this along for the last hour. So really, really appreciate everybody tonight and whoever's going to watch this afterwards. Les, thank you. Hope your wife gets better soon, mate. And Lee Roscoe, moderating, thanks very much. And everyone else. And it's good night from me.
And good night from me.